welcome, Boss Fam Nation. We are back at Real Talk Houston Studios. This is season 2. This is episode 9. And today we have James Guillory here with us. This was initially supposed to be our first start of our election series, you guys. I promised you that we were going to do at least 4 election segments leading up to voting day, which is March 1st. James Guillory here is our Texas State Representative candidate for District 131. And unfortunately, the 2 top-ranking investigation officers that were scheduled to be here today, due to the topics that we were going to discuss today, which is street violence, gun violence, they were called away on an emergency for that very thing, okay, you guys? So they were not able to join us today. However, Mr. Guillory and I are still going to cover those topics from a law enforcement and political perspective. What we want to do today is try to understand how we can bridge those gaps that exist in Texas and specifically here in our Houston community. So we're still going to discuss those issues today. So let us welcome again James Guillory into the building, you guys. Welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
And I wanted to say that today's episode is sponsored by the Anderson Group. And Charlie King, Dr. Charlie King, is providing stellar marketing campaign services to churches in the local Houston community, matter of fact, near and far. So if you guys need any marketing campaign done for your church, please reach out to Dr. Charlie King, and her number is 713-865-6554. And we'll mention that again at the end of our segment today. Okay. So again, James and I are going to talk about what is happening in our Houston community and what we can do, or what he plans on doing, and what we can also do as citizens in this community to make it a safer place for our children. So what we're going to hit on today is gun violence, of course, which is why our 2 officers cannot be here today. We're going to talk about police and citizen relationship building. We're going to address crime reduction and hopefully elimination. It's probably not realistic to say that we can get rid of crime altogether, 0% crime. But we're going to talk about what we can do to reduce that percentage as much as we can humanly possible get that done, okay? And we also want to look at the sad reality of our youth and the conditions that they're having to grow up with and witness and see in their own communities, in front of their own homes. They're not even safe to be in the streets anymore. You've got bullets flying through the houses. It's really bad. So we definitely want to talk about that, making our neighborhoods safe, okay? And we also want to look at ending racism and going towards being one community. So that is our goal. And again, Election Day is March 1st. I know early voting is coming up really soon. And we want to make sure that we have someone in office, specifically for District 131, that can work hard in making these changes in our community.
Yes.
Okay. So I know with our police officers, they have a tough job. We already know. Motivation-wise, I mean, what do you think we can do to bridge that gap between making sure they stay motivated and making sure they are engaged with the Texas State Representative from a political perspective?
First I'm going to say that, and this comes from our current Texas State Representative,
okay.
Alma Allen, who's
okay.
been in the position for 17 years now. Alma Allen's position is her only job as state representative is to be in Austin for 6 months, unless they extend a session,
okay.
and make laws and revise laws. I believe the state representative position and role can do a lot more than that.
Definitely.
It can be expanded.
Yes.
I believe the power and access that comes with that office.
Yes.
Our state representative that comes from our community in Houston or any other community, to go to our state capitol and have access to our governor,
yes.
our lieutenant governor, over 150 other lawmakers in the legislative body, that we could be dialoguing and finding out what's working, what's not. I don't think we're ever going to see Governor Greg Abbott come to District 131 in some of the schools that I attended.
Yes.
In my district.
Right.
But I believe I can speak with him.
Yeah.
Encourage him to make that move, because regardless, this is still your state that you're a governor in.
Texas.
We need to see you here. We need you to see what we're dealing with and the things that we need to address in our community, so you are not working and pushing to pass laws that don't address our needs.
Right.
So I think there's a lot more that can be done by our state legislative than what Alma Allen has been doing for 17 years. I appreciate what she's done, but there's a lot more that can be done. There can be some community leadership bridge building that can come from the state representative that has access to funding, other resources that come from our state level, that can come and speak with our police chief.
Yes.
That can come and speak with our community leaders in churches who are concerned about the crime and the gun violence and challenges we're having in our community. To be that glue to bridge that gap. We have city council members that have a role. We have county commissioners that have a role. We have school board members that have a role.
Right.
But we still have all these problems because there's a gap between everybody's job and role.
Right.
I want us to find a way to fill those gaps by talking together and find out what's still not getting done.
Okay.
So that's the one big thing that I have learned and now understand about Alma Allen, and understand why we're still having a lot of the challenges we're having.
Okay.
Because not only her position, I don't want to say just hers, but definitely in her position, there's so much more she could be doing with that position and with the power of that office to really help engage the community and get some resolution to some challenges and problems and move our community forward.
So maybe being a little bit more hands-on and in tuned with what is happening here in the Houston community today. Okay. So is there a channel that needs to, I know you mentioned other positions that's involved here, and I know there's a process, but what will be her or your direct point of contact to talk about law enforcement and how we can help them to do better jobs in the communities that they've been assigned to? Do you have to talk to the mayor first? Do you need to talk to the police chief first? And what is the process? What channel needs to be taken to dig into that problem, peel away those layers?
Well, let me tell you what. I've already started, even as the candidate for Texas State Representative.
Okay, you guys, you hear that? He's already on it.
I've already started. First of all, I have met with the Houston Police Officers Union.
Okay.
I presented to the Houston Police Officers Union probably about 2.5 months ago.
Okay.
I have been endorsed by the Houston Police Officers Union.
Correct. Wonderful.
I have been endorsed by the Houston firefighters as well, because our emergency services are an important issue to address
Very
as well.
important issue, yes.
I have also our chief of police, Chief Troy Fenner.
Okay.
Chief Troy Fenner I've been knowing all my life. His mother actually babysitted me as I was growing up. So I know his family very well, know Troy very well. Troy actually alumni also of Madison High School. He graduated from Madison High School.
I did remember
He's
that.
He's a bit ahead of me, but great gentleman. I actually reached out to him when I told him about this leap of faith that I was going to take and pursue this position. He encouraged me. He congratulated me. He told me, James, we really need someone in that position to work with us and help us. So I'm really looking forward to working with you. So I've already done the outreach to several different individuals. Actually, I've done outreach to several politicians that won't reach back to me because they fear supporting me over a long time incumbent, which I understand. Maybe their friend may have supported them in their path to being in the office they're in. But as I reached out to them, my goal was to just relate to them who I am, what I stand for, what I like to do for the community. They don't want to hear it, but they're going to hear it regardless from everybody else, because we got the support of the majority of the community. So after I win in March, I will call them again. And now they'll have no choice but to say, you know what, my door is wide open. Let's have a talk. Let's sit down. Let's talk about these problems we have, and let's get some options, and let's come up with some solutions, and let's engage the community in those options.
Right.
We got to engage the community in those options.
Right.
We can't dictate every policy, every law without talking to the community first.
Got to talk to the community and see what's going on in that community and see what needs to be done.
Yes.
So important people in that room would be, so if we can have a community meeting with, let's just say, District 131. If we can have a community meeting, District 131, you as the Texas State Representative, the people in the community, who else would be in that meeting in order to make it an impactful and productive meeting?
I can tell you the first meeting that I will call after I win the primary in March is to call a meeting with our city council member for our district, Ms. Martha Castak Tatum, our county commissioner, Mr. Rodney Ellis, our mayor, our chief of police, our chief of the fire department, and our new HISD superintendent, fraternity brother of mine, by the way.
All right.
I would call this leadership body first together to thank them for their service and taking on the roles and positions they've taken on. And many of them have done some great things.
They have, yes.
And I want to next talk to them about some of my priority topics that I'd like to work with them on. And let's talk specifically about all the different roles that they have, powers that they have, capabilities and access that they have, and then what I will be able to do in my role as state representative to help bring some glue to all these different resources and powers so we now address community issues. And I think that will be the first meeting, and the second one will be, let's call in the leaders of our major churches. Let's call in the principals of our schools. From high schools to junior high schools, probably to start with, so we could deal with some of those core issues of crime that are occurring, and gun violence, and those kind of challenges. So I think we get to those leaders, so those leaders can get to their body of members, the principals can get with teachers and administrators.
A domino effect.
That's right. It's a domino effect. So we're getting that feedback, and then I think we're going to have after that a broader meeting where we can have the teachers, we can have the community leaders, the civic club leaders. It's gonna. But see, everything you hear me talking about, it's not about just going to Austin for 6 months, making a law, revising the law, and going home, and we don't see you again for 24 months.
Exactly. It's doing a lot more.
So it's going to take a lot.
Being involved.
We're going to redefine what this position is capable of doing to benefit our community.
Yes.
We're going to do that.
Yes. That is definitely needed. That is good, and that's what we need. We just don't need someone sitting back there chilling in the cut, if you will, and disappearing and going on vacation. Right?
We can do better.
Yes.
There's a lot more to be done. You know what? When things get better, I hope all the state representatives can chill out a whole lot more. But right now, we got some serious problems. We got to put in some time, some effort. We got to hustle.
Yeah, we got to get some traction. We got to implement those changes and get some traction on those changes. So, because making the world a better place or making Houston and Texas a better place is a possibility. It's not out of reach. And a lot of people have lost hope. They're, woe is me. They feel like there's no hope. They feel like everything is going downhill. Politicians get in office and they don't do anything. They just sit there. Okay, I got the job now. Okay, I'm good. And it's a lot more than that. And I think that's one of the things that sets you apart from other candidates that I've personally seen in the past is that you're talking about it, and I really in my heart believe that you're talking the talk, and I believe you're going to walk the walk.
I really
will. There's a lot of the stereotype is politicians will say anything to get in office, but I really feel like you're not that guy. You do not fit that stereotype. So we're looking forward to change.
You can count on me.
We need that.
You can count on me. I am committed to this. I've never had even the desire to be a politician. But I really feel with all the blessed experiences I've had in life, whether I've succeeded or failed at some things, when I look back at it, I believe I've been put through some things in order to learn some things, in order to help others.
In order to do some things.
In order to do some things. And I believe this is my time and my opportunity to put that to work and work with others and learn from others too.
Exactly.
And I know this is going to be a learning experience in some ways for me, but I believe I have so much support from those in the community, those in leadership like Chief Troy Finner and others who are willing to advise me and share with me the things that they know about their profession I have no knowledge about.
Right.
I've been a student of our public school system all my life.
Yeah.
From elementary to college, but I've never been a teacher. I want them to share with me, what are you really dealing with today?
Yeah.
Not when Alma Allen was a teacher.
Right.
Not when Alma Allen was a principal.
Today.
Right now, what are you, the
change.
principals and teachers, dealing with that we need to work to address today?
Right. Right.
So you're gonna see me. I'm gonna go out. As my dad used this term, he say, "Son, you gotta touch it, you gotta kick it, touch it, feel it. You gotta get to know, you gotta get your hands dirty, your feet dirty, and really understand what you're dealing with. And you know what? I'm not afraid to fail at it.
Yeah.
One of the things I've learned in life is failure is not fatal.
Right.
Failure is not final.
That's true. Yeah.
We're all gonna make some mistakes. But if we put our heads together, we can come up with some ideas and options that we can work to implement.
Right.
And listen, we can have other cities and other states looking at us very closely in the future and saying, how did they turn that around?
We want to be like them. Yeah.
It's time for us to write the book on how to get this right and turn this around.
Exactly.
And I'm ready to do that.
That's right.
Yes,
I agree. Like the intro song says, give the people what they want. Let's make a change. Let's make a difference.
That's right.
So we got to start. We got to start somewhere.
Yes,
and if you fail, it's not final. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and come at it hard again with even more of a vengeance. That's true. So let's talk a little bit about police and citizen or community relationships. How can we build an avenue to making citizens feel safe in their communities, not afraid of the police officers not afraid to go into those communities? How can we build or strengthen that relationship that exists between police officers and the communities that they serve?
Yes. I think one of the things that we can begin to do is, and I've met with the Houston Police Officers Union. I think there's a board member group there, probably over a good 40 plus members.
Okay.
And they're over so many different type of divisions that exist within our police department.
Okay.
But one of the things I told them when I met with them is, listen, I need to take you into my community. I need the young men and women in middle school and high school to really get to know you. I need them to know that you are the same people that actually used to sit in this same classroom. At this same high school at Sterling and Worthing and Madison. I need them to know you were once here. And that, by the way, you're also someone that probably goes to our church, probably lives in our neighborhood.
Right.
I think once we remove this wall of, okay, you're a police officer, you got a gun and you got a badge.
You don't know nothing about me in my life.
And all we know is about some of the bad things we've seen on TV with police officers. And listen, there's some bad ones out there.
This is true.
And I tell you what our police officers have to do. They have to be willing to stand up and say, you know what? That's a bad person. They don't need to be representing me in this uniform. Police officers got to be strong enough to do that.
Right.
But we have to, back again, bring them into the community so we can talk, so they can talk with those communities, with those young people, with those parents of those young children, so that they know, listen, I'm here to do my job, but respect you as a citizen, and I want you to respect me as a peace officer and someone that's here to serve, to protect you.
Exactly.
So let's all be respectful to one another.
Of each other.
We got to change some attitudes and hearts.
Yes.
And we got to be an example of how to do it.
Right.
And we got to remind and show these young men and women that, hey, I just want you to look at the examples of those that, even though they probably got arrested that night, even though they probably got a ticket that day, the fact of the matter is, the next morning, they woke up alive.
Right.
And God willing, safe.
Right.
And they got the opportunity to fight whatever they feel was unjust or was incorrect. You got the next day, you got the opportunity to fight.
To fix that, or to change that, or to fight that.
That's right.
Correct. It's not over.
I'm a parent.
Yeah.
I have daughters.
Right.
I have son. I want them to come home safe.
Exactly.
Let mom and dad deal with the issues with you after you come home safe.
Right.
If I got to come pick you up from jail, I'm coming.
Exactly.
I'll be there.
Right.
Wherever I'm at,
right.
I'm coming to get you.
Right.
I just want you to be safe. We'll deal with the rest later. That's
another stigma that's out there when we talk about police officers and communities and the communities that they serve and building that trust factor. I have 2 sons as well, boys. And when I tell you that every time they even get in their vehicles and drive off, and when they was younger, when they got in their cars, and I saw them walk out the door and go down the street, it's always, be careful. You know, if you get pulled over, don't be mean, be very respectful, don't get out of the car, have all your documents ready. And it was a shame that it was a fear, and it's a fear of a lot of parents.
Every time they leave the house.
Yeah, every time they leave. You just never know what you're going to get. You know, don't make any sudden moves. So I think it's really important that we get rid of that fear. The fear is huge. It's a huge elephant in the room.
It's sad we have to teach our teen children that, to where we have to teach them that they have to be concerned and even have that same concern and possible fear.
Yes.
But you want to know something? We can turn that around. You know what? When I look back at all of that was that our people that had to go through prior to us being born.
Right.
That, thank God, they did all they did.
Right.
So many lost their lives. Some lost limbs.
Yes.
I mean, just everything. And you just look back at it. I mean, from the 1950s and 60s and what they did, and you say, you know what? There's some of that still going on today.
Yes, it is.
It may not always be as vocal.
Yeah.
It may not always be as visible.
Right.
But if you look at the underlying things that are being done and what they're doing and the ultimate result of it, you got to say it's sad it's still here.
Right.
But I got to say, listen, we as a African American people,
right,
and so many other cultures too that have gone through other things similar in different countries. There are different backgrounds that have gone through racism in their country, apartheid, you know, so many things. So my point is, listen, God built us as a strong people.
Yes, He did.
He's chosen us to go through what we've gone through because He's built us for this battle.
Right. Yeah.
We are built to change the hearts and show people how they can be respectful and treat us.
Yes.
And we got to get back to being the respectful people that we were born to be and that we are.
Right.
But going back, it's sad to say that some of those same things exist.
True.
But we can get past this. We can get over this.
Yes.
And we can be an example.
Yes.
We can build a bridge.
Yes.
I am, as the future state representative, I'm not afraid to go to a Republican event to talk to Republicans as a Democrat.
Yeah.
Reminding them, we are all Texas citizens.
Yes.
These issues that are going on in my community that's 90% black and brown, these are the same people you work with on your job.
Exactly.
The same people that, even though I live on the right side of the street and you live on the left side of the street, the problems can still come to our community.
That's true. No one is really exempt.
You're not exempt
from problems, because, you know, crime goes everywhere.
Yes, ma'am.
Issues are everywhere. Just because, you know, you live, on this side of the street doesn't mean that those issues can't cross the street.
It will cross that street,
exactly.
cross that track, cross that
yes,
freeway.
It will. Yes, it will.
So you know what? You don't live in the bubble.
Yeah.
People have to realize that as much as some unfortunate Republican and conservative leaders, sad that they are just turning a blind eye because they know better.
Exactly right.
But the reality is, we got to get back to reminding people. You know what? We got to take care of one another as Texas citizens and U.S. citizens first.
Right. We all have red blood. Let's get rid of, I'm on the red team and I'm on the blue team. Let's try to work together as a unit.
Right.
So I want to ask you about, do you think there's more racial bias than there should be when it comes to these, say for example, traffic stops or responding to these calls? And part two to that question is, do you feel like a predominantly white community should have a white cop, or a predominantly black area should have more black police officers. Does that make a difference, or would that make a difference?
And boy, that would be a great question for the two officers and investigators we were planning to have here tonight.
Right.
Because
hold your answer.
Okay.
Please hold your answer. So I wanted to let you guys know that just joined us. We made the announcement very early on, but the two top ranking professional investigation officers that were supposed to be here today couldn't make it because of the topics that we're talking about today. They got called away, police business, gun violence, so they're not able to be here today. But we are covering all of those topics, and we're trying to bridge those gaps for you guys. Right. So back to the question, racial bias and police officers in the communities. And I'm
going to take this just from a standpoint of just a citizen first.
Okay.
Of what I would love to see.
Okay.
Because, I have been blessed to have an opportunity to grow up in a majority African American Latino high school, and go off to a college that was probably less than 20% African American and Latino.
Got it.
But you want to know something? I had that opportunity to go to college in that environment and work in that environment and realize, you know what? I'm here focused on what I'm there to get and what I'm there to achieve.
Right.
And as a respectful person to whomever I get in contact with or come in contact with, we were all able to work together to enjoy ourselves at school, at work, and achieve the projects and developments that we were doing together.
Work together.
And I think that's what should happen as police officers in the communities they work in.
Okay.
I don't think that a white police officer should be insulated to say that this person only is going to work in Rice University area. When at the end of the day, I need the young men and women in Sunnyside to actually know that as a white police officer, you care about them just as much. To stop, pull over your car while they playing basketball at the playground to say, hey, y'all, let me hoop with you a little while. What's your name?
Exactly.
My name is Officer so-and-so, and I patrol this area. And listen, if you have some concerns, some issues, you see me out there, wave at me. I want to know what you know so I can help keep you safe.
Keep you safe.
And I want that officer to not look just like those youth that he or she is out there patrolling with, because they need to know someone cares other than those that look just like me.
Right.
So if I was sitting here talking to Chief Troy Finner and those investigators, I would say, how can we get to that point?
Right.
Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing?
That would be amazing. That would be great.
We
need more interaction like that.
That's what I would ask.
I love it.
We got to see
I love that.
We got to be
That's
the example.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
We got to be the example.
And that speaks to what we were talking about. Getting involved in the community. These officers need to know who's in their community, right?
Exactly.
Make some contact with them instead of instilling fear in them, right? Because like I said, a lot of these kids are riding in their neighborhoods and a cop car just happened to get behind them, and they are so scared and nervous. Even though they're not doing anything wrong, their tags, everything is up to date, but because of what they see and hear, they have this automatic fear built in, and that's just not good. So to your point, if those officers, when you're passing by, some kid's house and you see them outside, at least throw your head up at them, or even if you don't stop and hold a physical conversation. Make them feel comfortable. Don't put that fear in them.
A little wave and a smile goes a
up,
long way.
Wave, smile.
Wave and smile goes a
what's
long
up,
way.
man? Or something. Yeah. Right.
That's right.
It's tough. And when these kids get stopped for no reason, that happened. Once again, I hate to. I have two boys, so these are the stories that I have to talk about. And they'll get stopped in their neighborhood for no reason, right?
That's right.
And we had to resort to putting their high school stickers in the car, let them know I'm from this neighborhood, or, put a football sticker in there. I play football, I go to, Bush High School, or whatever the case may be. And the funny thing is, that started working. So they would get pulled over, and the cop would say, hey, where are you going? What's your name? Where's your, give me your registration. And so they would see these stickers in the car, and they say, oh, you play football? And that kind of facilitated a little bit of conversation within itself. Yes, sir, I play for, wide receiver. I go here. I'm just coming home from practice, or, So again, to your point, having some dialogue and some communication with these officers it just makes everyone feel better all the way around.
All around.
So that kind of helped them out, and my sons, I'm sure it helped the police officer. Oh, he's just, he's a good kid. He's on the team. He's coming home, and he's a good kid. So that takes the pressure off on both sides, in my opinion.
Yes, and you know what? If the mindset from each party starts with respect.
Yes.
If the mindset of that officer walking to that car saying, "I respect this individual," one, he's a citizen.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
First and foremost,
yes.
That's a citizen that I'm stopping.
Yes.
Whether you know it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And then for that individual in that car, that young man, young woman, older woman, older man, whoever it is, you know what? Let me start off with respectfully recognizing this is a peace officer.
Right.
They come at me respectfully, I'm gonna come at them respectfully.
Exactly.
Let's start right there.
Exactly.
I think if we start right there, the tone of the entire situation can change and will change.
Totally agree.
I think we can.
Totally.
I think we can reduce what we're seeing as far as the violence between a citizen and an officer. Get reduced as fast as 10 to 20% in the first year.
Mm-hmm.
If we all as citizens and officers make a commitment to start with respect first.
Yes.
Let's just start with that attitude first.
Exactly.
And I think we can make a change. So I know I'm very ambitious in my ideas and thoughts and prayers for this situation.
But not unrealistic. It's realistic. Those changes are possible.
It definitely
We just need everybody on the same page, everybody, working and fighting for the same thing.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And it just allows us all to achieve so much more.
I know.
The officers enjoy their job more. They're safer.
Exactly.
They get to go home safely to their family at night. Those same individuals in that automobile or at that store, whatever location, get the same thing.
Right.
We can progress so much more if we just look at how we can respect one another.
Right.
Do what we came to do.
Yes.
Enjoy our life.
Yes.
Things could really change for us all.
Yeah, bridge those gaps.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it impacts not only the community, the people in the community, for the officers or the people that's getting stopped in the cars, it impacts the officers' families. They have wives and children and mothers and dads that's worried about them. And then the people in the community have their own families that's worried about them.
Yes, ma'am.
So, again, that's true. We need to bring it all together, guys. Reel it in, implement these changes, get some new and fresh ideas, some fresh blood in office over here, James Guillory, so we can start getting some traction and start making those changes.
Yes, ma'am.
Because we definitely need
100%.
that. How much do you think the media is influencing what crime? Sometimes the media influence crime, social media that is, and also we see on the news that. And I hate to say it, the news is here to bring us what's happening in the community, but it seems like they always harp on all the negative stuff. Right. Do you think feeding all the negativity on the news and on TV and seeing so much of it in social media, do you think that has anything to do with the psyche of the people out there in these communities? And how does that make the law enforcement feel, that they're only showing the bad and media is only, fueling fire of bad incidents. So let's talk about what's good, the good that's happening. So how do you feel about what's being put out there by the media?
You know what? If everybody remembers that the ultimate purpose of that media company is to make money.
And to get ratings. And that's money.
And that means get ads. So the people who run the ads pay more money to be on that news station feed at 7:00 when the news come on. So if you look at the news, they'll say, "Hey, coming up on the news, such and such shooting happened, and this home got burglarized, and we'll be talking about." So they're gonna give you all these big highlights and say, "Oh, we'll come back in a minute." They got to pay the bills for the ads, right? So if you really look at it, they are looking at that psyche of that individual and that household is saying, what's going to keep them glued to our station? And it's the same thing with social media. They're feeding you what they know is going to keep you glued to that social media station, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
I think if we just remember within ourselves, what are they doing?
Mm-hmm.
What is really their purpose?
Right.
I'm not saying we don't want to watch it on TV.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we don't want to know about it on social media.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's up to us to control what we take in.
Yes.
We got to control what we take into our mind, into our body, so on and so forth. We got to do a better job of that. And I think when we get to that point, we then are now probably then deciding how much of this do I need to hear? How much do I need to be a part of?
Right.
And then at the end of the day, once I finish watching it and once I finish taking it in, what was the benefit of it to me? Have I made more money off of it?
Right.
Has my job progressed? Have I made a better grade in school?
Yeah, am I a better person?
Am I a better person because of it? You know, has it now done something to me to make me a better person tomorrow?
Yeah.
Or am I just as mean and nasty as that person I just laughed at on TV for the last hour or two?
Exactly.
So we got to remember what we're feeding ourselves.
Right.
What we're taking in, and why other people are feeding it to us. What's their ultimate purpose? Because once they made their millions and billions, and you still sitting on your couch disappointed about what you haven't going on in life and achieved, but you still laughing at what's going on, but you still struggling.
You're still in the same situation you were in. Nothing has changed.
Right.
Yeah.
So we just got to be mindful,
cognizant of that. Right.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay. Are there any laws on the table, or any laws that we can, or you can try to create, modify, or change that would drive down crime? I mean, what is the driving factor for crime? Is it drugs? Is it poverty? Is it boredom? Is it unemployment? What do you feel like is the driving crime for so much crime in Houston?
Those are all good ones, I tell you. I mean, those are all good ones.
All the above?
You know, I will say this, and I'll make this point on the campaign trail, is everything that needs to be done to improve our community doesn't have to be done with the law. I remind people that although we have a majority Republican state legislator, like 57%, versus our 43 Democrat, there are still things that once we build that relationship with even Republicans to remind them, these are things that we can do that's beneficial to you as well as me, because we still live in the same city.
Correct. Yes.
But I think once we build that relationship together and talk about those main topics that are leading us down this path of excessive crime, unnecessary crime. You know, and I know you asked about laws, but I think what we can really do in our community is the actual citizens that are in the community, that live in that community where crime is heavy. You know, we know there's some people in our community that shouldn't have a gun. Right? We know some family members. We know some family members that shouldn't be carrying.
That's an entirely different show. I can talk it's forever on that topic, but yes.
Yeah. So you know what I'm gonna say to everybody is, once again, I want us to be responsible. Of saying, you know what, I know this person, and although I love them, although they may be my friend from high school, if I know this person is in that car and they have a gun and they're riding up and down my street, don't wait till some little kid is shot up through the door of their car in the back seat of a car, because we knew that person was not mentally fit to have that gun. And we knew we probably could anonymously report that and say something to make sure at least that individual was taken off the street, or their guns out of their hands. You know, and listen, I so want to find and work another way. I don't want to see our young black and brown men and women going to jail. That is not my desire. I don't want us to just take somebody off the street to say, put them in jail, so now we're all going to be safer. I think everybody needs an opportunity to say, listen, what you're doing, and what's on your mind about what you potentially could do to hurt somebody, it's not necessary.
That's true.
I want to give some people some help.
I
want to. By the way, my mom's a long-time family therapist and child therapist.
Oh, great.
So I grew up in the house. Boy, don't let something go wrong with my mom in the house. Boy, we all sitting down at the table. Okay, it's about to be counseling session at the house. Okay.
Get it? Yeah.
But you know, I know I watched her so many times. Her ultimate goal is how can I help this person from going back to doing what they did or getting in trouble again?
Yep.
I want to be that bridge, and I want that relationship that I'll build with those other community leaders and those parents to say, y'all, let's really talk to these young men and women about what path they're going down.
Right.
I want to go get those ex-offenders who've come out and done their time to come with me back to those schools to say, I want you to share with them what you did when you were in junior high and high school.
Right.
And the mistakes you made.
Right.
And what just happened to you over the last 20 years that your life has been taken away from you.
Right. We talked about that before, about if we could bring in, if they ever start assemblies again at schools, we can have people to come in and talk to these kids about, hey, if you don't stop doing what you're doing and get your life right, you're going to wind up like me. I just did, 20 years in the penitentiary because blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And, a lot of kids might not get that at home. They might not have no idea. They might think they're these big bad bullies. I'm untouchable by the law. I'm above the law. I can do what I want.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I don't think anyone is above the law. No matter how smart and brilliant and intelligent you think you are, I don't think you're above the law. Right. But if they could bring that back to schools so that we can have more of an impact, bring some realistic situations into these communities, back into the schools, and letting these kids know, hey, if you take this route, you're probably going to wind up like me. I just got out. Right. So I totally agree with that. Do you think there's any chance at all that gun law is going to get turned around?
I think it's going to be tough with the attitude and the like I said, the mean-spiritedness we see with our Republican legislators right now. I think it's going to be really tough. But I believe if I do my job and others who think like I do, which I know there are many that do.
Yes.
If we can build that statistic,
right,
and not only talk to the Republican legislators about, listen, you all, here's the law you put in place. I want to show you just how it has changed or not changed or benefited since you put it in place.
Look at these statistics.
Look at these honest statistics.
Yes.
But you know what? Don't just take it to those legislators, because so many of them have been influenced by the ones that are raising their voice the loudest and being the most disrespectful and feel they are the ultra conservative. Right. And unfortunately, there are some I would say some moderate Republicans or moderate conservatives or some independents that may be slightly conservative that are also voting for those same legislators. If we can reach the hearts of, I believe, that majority of that group, they will start standing up, speaking up, and be more influential with that state legislator. And that state legislator is going to know that, hey, you know what? They can vote me out of this office too. It's not just that loud, nasty, dogmatic, conservative Republican that's going to keep me in office. And that's where they got to get to. And once again, I know we shooting for the stars here. Yeah. I know these are big goals.
But it's worth it.
It's worth it, and it's possible. But I think, once again, going back to the gun law, I think you really got to show them, listen, here is the benefit of what you've done. Right. Here's how it improved what you felt if you did it. It would prove A, B, C, and D. Right. And let's be honest, there's a better way to go about it. So I think we can come up with some ways to rewrite that law. Right. Reverse that law. Yes. Because as I stated, I believe on our last show, I believe in gun ownership. I believe in responsible gun ownership. Right. I think having proper training for a gun is critical. And you know what? I believe a lot of legislators who are Republican and Democrat too, that guns that overpower our police officers that are there to protect us don't need to be on the streets
available for anybody to get their hands on.
That's correct. Right. And we hear it all the time. People feel, well, you're taking away my rights, right? Listen, I want people to stop putting the good of their country and community and neighborhood and other citizens over their own personal right. Correct. It's just it's so selfish.
Shallow, yes.
It's just like the mask issue that we just dealt with. You know what? If I can continue to breathe behind this mask and it's not making me pass
Yeah,
out,
it's not
I'm not falling on the floor.
Right.
If it may save somebody's life, I care because you're my fellow citizen.
Just
and
wear it.
if it may help you, then fine.
Right.
Let's try it out.
Right.
So and that's the same thing with guns. We got to talk to one another. I think there are a lot, and actually, the statistics came out about some of the bills that came out by some of these Republicans in our last legislative session. You have a lot of people who are Republican that are disappointed about some of those same laws that have come out. But once again, it's those that are the loudest, and you know what? It's those that are going out and voting.
That's true.
That makes a difference. I tell people all the time, less than 10% of the voting age population in my district is going out to vote. Less than 10%.
And that's a very low number.
If you can imagine the majority of other districts, they're still at probably 50% and below.
Right.
If we get out and vote, we can change things in our city, in our state, and in our country.
That's correct.
I understand we're disappointed about the way a lot of things turned out. We had a wonderful president, I believe, in President Obama, and all of a sudden we end up with President Trump and some ways and actions and rhetoric that just made you just grab your children and say, I can't believe that they have to see this and hear this.
Close your eyes, baby. Don't even watch.
But you know, once again, I'll say it again. The good Lord puts us through some things so we can see some things. And as you all see, we've seen some things in some hearts of some people that have really shown themselves, right?
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that we give up our fight of trying to be a better people, a better person, create a better city and state and community for ourselves. Life is a consistent. Unfortunately, it's a reality. It's a battle. There's work that you have to put in.
Right, correct.
You can't just sit back and just rest on what we've been able to achieve, whether it's in our household, our businesses, and our community.
Right.
There's going to be some things that are going to come in and try to interrupt our life.
This is true.
Okay.
That's right.
So let's just keep working together, and I think if we do it together, there's a lot less that one person or a few people have to take on.
Yeah.
If we start doing it together,
it makes it easier, and you get more momentum, and you get a lot more done.
And that's what we're going to do as your state legislator. We're going to work with those in the community because I can't do all this by myself.
By yourself, correct.
But I will be there to make sure what I can do with my office, and how I can bring people together, that we work to listen and bridge that divide.
Right.
I really believe it can and will happen, and I'm going to work like hell to make sure that happens.
And I know you will.
Yeah.
I have one more question that came through from a few people in the audience had this exact same question.
Okay.
Are there any laws on the table, or are there any laws currently? Police Academy. A lot of people want to be a policeman. Yeah. They're afraid to be a policeman because of everything that's going on right now. I think there's been an increase in what police officers start out with. Is that correct? Over the years? Yeah, because a lot of people saying, well, number one, I'm not doing it because I don't get paid. Number two, it's too dangerous. So that's a double negative, right?
Yeah.
So I think the pay is a lot better now, you guys, but I still get a lot of questions about, but it's just so unsafe with everything that's going on in the Houston community. So I think basically, I answered my own question. If we start working on all these issues that exist in the Houston community, you guys, it'll be a safer place for you guys to
We're going to have more
become police officers.
We're going to have more detectives.
Need them, I think. Yeah.
There are so many different areas that someone can work in law enforcement.
Right.
I didn't even know all the
areas. Not just being an
areas.
officer. There's a lot more to do.
That's right.
And the benefits are great.
There's some great benefits and great opportunities as I've learned.
Yes.
And you want to know, I want our young people in our workforce to know that those opportunities exist.
Yes.
And I want the young people to know that the path you choose to go down could keep you from being able to have that opportunity one day.
That's
because
right.
that record will follow you.
Right.
And it means something to them. You won't be able to go through that academy.
Correct.
But you hit it on the nose. Plain and simple. I want those young men, those young women to say, yes, I want to be an officer in this area. And you know what? Things are getting safer.
Right.
The community respect for the officer and the officer's respect for the community is getting so good. I think I really enjoy being an investigator, officer under alcohol, beverage, firearm, whatever it might be, undercover detective.
Exactly.
So many things that they could do. But that's where it's going to start because, just like We need more officers to enjoy their job and get paid properly for their work.
Yes.
We need to do the same thing with teachers.
Yes.
We need to do the same thing for firefighters.
Yes.
We have so many important public serving professions that need to be paid properly for their work.
Exactly.
And you know what? Listen, if you and I continue to see our property taxes, they've been going up every year on average.
Correct.
Our property taxes have been going up on average 8% every year for the last 8 years.
Yes, sir.
If my property taxes continue to go up that much and a teacher can't get a 3% raise every year, what in the heck is going on with all that money?
Exactly. Cost of
Something
living is going
wrong.
up, and our salaries are remaining the same, and in some cases, the jobs are going away altogether. But people still need to live.
Yeah.
They still need to live.
It's ridiculous. So, you know what? As a business major, accounting, background in accounting and business, I want to dig into the budget of our state.
Oh, yes. Please dig into the budget.
Let's look at the money that we continue to take in. It continues to grow that we're taking in.
Right.
But we can't pay teachers.
Correct.
And we can't increase their salary. We can't increase. We're fighting about how we're going to increase our officer and our firefighter salary.
Right.
Where is this money going?
Good question.
We got to do a better job.
Yes, we do.
We got to do a better job.
Yes, we do.
So I'm going to hold some people accountable.
Please hold some people accountable.
And I believe the citizens of District 131 and Houston and Texas are going to hold me accountable.
Yes.
And I'm honestly, my ultimate goal is to communicate and report back to you all on a regular basis.
Great.
I have a wonderful campaign team right now helping me win this election.
Yes.
We're already sending out newsletters right now. That newsletter is something that's going to continuously go out.
Yes.
So that you know when I'm not here in Houston and I have to be in Austin on our behalf, you know what it is that we're working on and what we're trying to achieve.
Yes.
So you can feed me back some of your ideas and thoughts.
Exactly.
I'm not going there to create a law to implement on you for you just to live with. I want to go and see some laws implemented that's going to benefit you, that you're saying this will be very helpful to my small business, to my community, to my family, to my education. Those are the things I want to go with.
On several levels, yes.
We're going to change the way a state representative represents.
Wonderful. I love that. I love it.
Yeah.
I like that. We need that. Yeah. So, Boss Fam, we definitely need that. So, let's hope and pray that James gets elected on March 1st. Voter registration ended on January 31st.
That's right.
So I hope everyone got out there, and specifically in District 131, and that you guys are all registered to vote, and you get out to the polls on early voting, which is
February 14th through the 25th. And please go to James for Texas on my Facebook and jamesfortexas.org. We're signing up volunteers. We're going to be at the polls. We want our volunteers out there. Let's get everybody in our community out to vote. It's going to make a difference, and I can't wait to meet you all, shake your hands, get to know you. I need you. We're going to work together and get this done.
Yes, we need this, you guys. We need this. Definitely need this. So, leading up to Super Bowl.
Let's do it.
Are you into football?
Oh, I love it. I'm a former football player myself.
Got to ask you a couple of questions because it is leading up to Super Bowl.
All right.
So, first question is, what do you think about the new Texans head coach?
Yeah.
Lovey. Hey, Lovey. Let's go, Lovey. What do you think about Lovey Smith, new head coach for the Texans?
You know what? I remember watching Lovey when he was with the Bears. When he was head coach. I remember the Super Bowl where he played against another African American head coach. Okay. You know, that was just fantastic to see. What he's been able to achieve. Yeah. You know what
I'm excited.
You know what I liked about the interview so far though with Lovey is Lovey talked about building a relationship once again with the players that exist there.
Very important.
Making sure the relationship between the players gets strengthened. Yep. Those coaches and the players. Yep. The ownership and the players. Yep. And most importantly, the fans and the players.
Yes, of course.
And the outfit, the whole organization. Yeah. I think his mindset is, in order for us to win, it's going to take the people in the stands and the ones on the field.
Oh, yeah.
With that attitude and with what we know he's been capable of doing in the past,
right.
I believe we're going to have a win. Listen, I'm not switching over
fans are ready.
I'm going to tell everybody, I'm not switching over to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm sticking with the Texans. Okay?
That's right. We're
I'm not
fans.
doing it.
We're diehard fans. Well, the fans are ready. And I know the team is ready. They're ready to get some positive traction for the team. So I think Houston is going to be great, you guys. We got a good coach, Lovie Smith, on deck here, and I think we're about to see some great changes in that arena as well. Final question, sports question leading up to Super Bowl. Rams or Bengals? Who you got?
I'm leaning toward the Bengals.
Oh, why does everybody say that? Okay, I'm going for the Rams. I'll be the underdog. I'm going for the Rams. Go Rams.
Yeah.
All right.
I tell you, everybody, 5 Central Houston, we're having a great event for the Super Bowl. So please, if you haven't found a place to come hang out and watch the game,
all right.
I hope to meet you all out there, see you, and shake your hands. We'll be there watching the game. All right.
All right, you guys, thank you so very much. Again, this episode is sponsored by the Anderson Group, Dr. Charlie King. She's a magnificent, stellar campaign marketing manager for churches near and far. You guys look her up or give her a call at 713-865-6554. All right? Thank you guys so very much. It's time for a change. Let's make it happen.
Thank you.
Real Talk Houston.